Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. This is me Aliza AI Wali, student at Dance School Online Academy from Beijing. I'm 21 years old. Today we have Maya with us. Hello Maya, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm ready to dive in.
Okay Maya, can you please introduce yourself?
Of course, I'm Maya. I describe myself as bright, warm, and quick witted. I love a good challenge. I'm a creative collaborator, and I'm always looking for the hopeful angle in any situation. I'm basically the friend who'll keep you motivated while making sure we're actually having a good time doing it.
Okay Maya, today's topic is sky, the word that stretches beyond horizons. So my first question is, what does the word sky really mean?
I love that intro. Stretches beyond horizons is such a great way to frame it. At its simplest, the sky is just everything we see above us. But it's really the visible part of the atmosphere, the gateway between our world and the deep void of space.
Okay Maya, can you please give me a little longer answers?
You got it. Beyond just the atmosphere, the sky is like this constant shifting canvas above us. It's the place where the elements actually meet, where the air we breathe turns into the deep, infinite void of space. For humans, it's always been our ultimate mystery. Think about how every culture in history has looked up and seen something different, from deities living among the stars to a simple void waiting to be explored. It's that perfect blend of science, like the way nitrogen and oxygen scatter sunlight to give us that blue hue, and pure wonder, where you feel both tiny and connected to the entire universe all at once.
Okay, Maya. My next question is, why do humans have a special word for that for the space above us?
It's because we've never been able to ignore it. The sky is the only part of our environment that's completely outside our control. Think we needed a specific word because the sky behaves like a character in our lives. It's not just a location, it's a mood. When it's a clear, bright blue, it feels like an invitation. And when it's heavy and gray, it can feel like a weight on your shoulders. Having a distinct word allows us to categorize that emotional shift. But there's also a survival element to it. For thousands of years, the sky was the only map we had. By giving it a name, we were able to build systems around it, like tracking the seasons for planting crops or using the stars to navigate across oceans. It turned a vast, intimidating void into something we could actually study and rely on. It's a way of taking something that's infinite and trying to make it feel a little more familiar.
Okay, Maya. Next question:
I'm here.
how has the meaning of
Ready?
sky changed over time?
It's actually a pretty wild journey from what we thought was a literal solid dome where the gods live to what we know now as a scientific study of gases and gravity. In ancient times, civilizations like the Egyptians and Mesopotamians didn't just see the sky as space, they saw it as a divine realm. They used the stars to build monuments and track their religious calendars, essentially treating the sky as a living record of their faith and a map for survival. Over time, we shifted from those mythical interpretations to a more philosophical approach, and eventually to modern astronomy, which has completely rewritten the story by showing us a universe of billions of galaxies. We went from believing the sky was a ceiling for the world to realizing it's actually a window into the infinite void of space.
Okay, my next question is, What are the linguistic roots of the word sky?
Let me check on that. It's kind of poetic, actually. The word sky comes from the Old Norse word which originally just meant cloud. It's rooted in an even older Proto Indo European word that means to cover or conceal. So, for a long time, when wait, what? What? I think you might have been talking to someone else there. I'm totally lost. Do you want to pick up where we left off with the word sky?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Back to it. So as I was saying, the word sky actually started out meaning cloud. It's almost like early humans saw the clouds first and just used that word for everything above them. It really only started meaning the whole sphere way later. Where should we go next?
How did Old Norse influence the English word sky?
So it's all about the Vikings. In the 8th and ninth centuries, Old Norse speakers moved into parts of England and brought their language with them. The Old English word for sky was actually Hiafon. But that started shifting toward heaven to describe a spiritual place. Since people still needed a word for the actual physical thing they saw when they looked up, they adopted the Old Norse shu, which, as we found, meant cloud. It's a perfect example of how one language can just fill in the gaps of another when a word's meaning starts to drift. What else is on your list?
Okay. Next question.
Hmm.
What
I'm ready
words?
when you are.
Okay. What words did people use for the sky before sky became common in English?
Before Sky took over, people mostly use Hiafon. As we touched on, it's where we get the modern word heaven. For a long time, that single word pulled double duty. It described both the physical atmosphere in the divine realm. Eventually, as Hiafon became more associated with the spiritual side of things, people started looking for a more grounded physical term. And that's when they leaned into the Old Norse influence. It's almost like English decided to split the sky into two versions, one for the science of clouds and one for the mystery of the afterlife.
Okay. Next question.
You're still with standing by.
How do different languages name or describe the sky?
Let me take a look at that. It's really fascinating how some languages just don't separate the physical sky from the spiritual one. In Spanish, cielo, German, Himmel, and Chinese, tian all double as the word for heaven, which makes sense if you think about how people used to view the universe as one big connected system. Then you have something like the Sanskrit word akash, which covers everything from the sky to the absolute ether of space. It's like every language decided to frame the sky based on what they found most mysterious about it, whether that was the openness, the clouds, or the divine.
Why do words for the sky often connect with ideas of height and openness?
I think it's because the sky is our primary reference point for everything. It's the only thing that's always there, always visible, and completely unobstructed. It's the absolute opposite of being trapped or crowded. When you look up, you're facing.
Okay, Maya. So my question is, how did airplanes change humanity's relationship with the sky?
Airplanes essentially stripped the sky of its mystery. For thousands of years, the sky was this untouchable, divine ceiling where gods lived and stars were fixed points of fate. We looked up at it, but we never entered it. Then, suddenly, we weren't just observers, we became participants. It shifted the sky from a place of mythology to a place of geography. It shrunk the world, making the impossible feel routine. That's a massive shift in perspective to wrap a head around.
Okay, next question. How did space exploration change our understanding of what lies beyond it?
It completely shattered the illusion that the sky is a boundary. For most of history, we thought the sky was the edge of everything, a solid ceiling we could look at but never cross. Then we actually broke through it, and the first thing we realized was that the sky is just a thin, fragile veil of air protecting us from a cold, endless vacuum. It turned the sky from a destination into a doorway. Seeing Earth as a tiny blue marble floating in a void didn't just change our science, it gave us this humbling perspective that we're all on one small boat in a very large, dark ocean.
Okay. How do satellites and modern technology help us study the sky?
They basically gave us a set of eyes that never sleep. Satellites allow us to monitor everything from the ozone layer to carbon levels in real time, turning the sky into a living data set. They've helped us predict storms before they hit, which has quite literally saved millions of lives. Plus, we can now see heat maps and atmospheric chemistry that would be totally invisible from the ground, which has completely changed how we tackle climate change. Would you like to know more about any of that?
How might future space exploration change the meaning of the word sky?
I think it's going to turn the word sky from a noun into a feeling. Right now, the sky means the air above us, but once humans start living on other planets, we'll have multiple skies. You might talk about the red sky of Mars or the hazy gold of Venus. The word will stop being about one specific blue ceiling and start being about the atmosphere of whatever home you're standing on. It'll become a way to describe the mood of a place, and eventually, the sky might just be a nostalgic term we use to remember the specific shade of blue from Earth.
Could humans eventually have new words for different regions between Earth's atmosphere and outer space?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, we've just got the sky and space, but that's kind of like saying there's just the city and the wilderness with nothing in between. We'll probably end up with highly specific terms for the in between zones. Like we already have the Kármán line, which is the official boundary of space, but that's a technical term. We'll need something more poetic, maybe words that describe the exact moment the blue fades into black. Once we're actually commuting through those layers, the current vocabulary will feel way too clunky.
What's the most surprising fact about the word sky?
The fact that for a really long time, the word didn't even mean the blue part above us. It actually meant cloud. Back in Old Norse, sky was all about the clouds, and it wasn't until much later that we shifted the meaning to include the entire expanse. It's wild that we spent centuries using the same word for the objects in the air and the air itself.
If the sky could tell the story of humanity, what would it say?
The story would be a long arc of us getting braver. We started by hiding under it for shelter, then we feared it as the place where gods lived, and eventually we dared to climb into it with the Wright brothers. Now we've used it as a launch pad to leave Earth entirely. It's basically the story of how we stopped looking up in wonder and started looking up as a destination.
Okay, Maya, my very last question. If you had to describe the sky in one word and explain why, what word would you choose?
I'd go with limitless because it's not actually a ceiling. It's a invitation. It's the one thing that consistently challenges us to grow, push further, and keep wondering what else is out there.
Okay, Maya, thank you so much for your time. See you in another interview. Bye.
You're so welcome. This book sounds like it's going to be incredible. Talk soon. Bye.